Hello and welcome everybody to the Hyperclock special event here at Trackalicious. We are here at the lovely Nürburgring, an amazing circuit located in Nürburgring, Germany, of course, 3.1 miles, and I'm joined here in the booth by none other than, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, Chris Larondie, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's not a problem.
As I already butchered something. It's not a stream with me if I don't butcher something early. But yes, hello and welcome everyone. Hope you're having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Of course, I'm Mike Nause in the booth, and we are here for a nice special event tonight. We're going to have a 24-hour race, everybody. Except it's not going to be 24 hours. It's going to be over the course of 90 minutes, and the time multiplier of times 16. 3 mandatory pit stops. We're going to see some heated action in this one, Chris. I have no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, understandable, especially with the strategy of having to throw in the 3 pit stops in the middle of this epic race that we're about to watch. Very excited to see the field, to see how they tear into this. Working on the Nürburgring GP circuit, very favorite track of myself. Not sure if the sentiment's the same for everyone. It's got lots of corners, lots of handling. Really will test you as a driver as far as can you stay online and in your apex. I'm, again, excited to see how this is going to unfold tonight. Absolutely.
It's going to be a real thriller. Of course, you have the famous turn 1 here, which is a very tight right-hander. The Coca-Cola curve. Of course, is aptly named, very fun corner name to say. And we're going to see some action in there tonight. Excuse me, that's the final corner. I meant to say Haughauken. Excuse me. Of course, Coca-Cola curve is the final. Once again, it's not a stream with me if I don't butcher something. But yes, welcome everybody. I see we got Doc Milwee in there, as well as Dan Versosa. Welcome. As we get ready here, we're going to head over into the session. We are currently in qualifying right now with some drivers setting some times. So why don't we head on down into the session?
I'm really worried to see how they're going to handle tonight. The NGK chicane is a lot of dreams can be made and a lot of dreams can be shattered in that particular chicane section. It can, especially as the laps go on, and now we're seeing rain hit the course. Oh, this is going to be quite exciting race tonight. Absolutely, no doubt.
Yeah, 16 times time multiplier. As you can see, Charlie Booth managing to set a time on the board. I think that's going to be it for him. Ali Raza topping the time charts there with a 156.5 in these interchanging conditions. I think the quali started wet. It looks like it is just bucketing it down, though. And looking at the weather report, it's actually going to let up. So the drivers are presumably going to wait a bit, but are they going to have not enough time to wait? That's going to be the question here. It's going to be 10-minute qualifying. Will they have the time to actually get a dry lap in? I highly doubt it. They're going to have to time it very well. Ali Razas does not seem to think so. He is out there playing through the puddles and having a good time doing so. Currently 2/10 down, though, on his previous lap, as most drivers are down on their previous lap. Actually, Steven Tomazic gaining.
Ali Booth is definitely trying to work on the heels of Ali Raza tonight. You can see him pulling up just 2/10 behind, trying to squeeze out that last bit of juice, trying to catch up. I'm sure there's going to be a definite need and want to start as early in the grid as possible tonight, especially if the weather does not change in the favor of these drivers.
Yeah, most certainly. And actually, it looks like it stopped raining instantly.
Oh?
I don't see any rain anymore. That's interesting. So we are going to see drivers return to track. All right, 16 times time multiplier, everybody. This is what, as you can see, it's getting now extremely daytime and bright.
The track is now dry, ladies and gentlemen. False alarm.
The guys in the truck are going to have to change the filters in their cameras even to get some nice and better bloom here, as the quality has improved so much in these past, well, I guess hours, it seems. That is what a 16 times time multiplier does, though. We're going to see some crazy weather, and it could just be dumping down for one lap. The drivers come into the pits, and then it dries up immediately, as we've seen now. We're going to see a lot of drivers coming out and setting some much quicker times. You see Albert Tranghisi, currently no time on the board, looking to set a lap here. Is going to be rounding the Coca-Cola curve now in the 296. The number 44 car comes across the line. What's it going to be? His first lap of the night here into the dry conditions. It's going to be 3.4 seconds off the pace there. Definitely a bit more time on the table there for Albert. I know he's got Albert, very quick boy. So we'll see him improve in pace. I'm sure of it. The wet lap definitely not helping with that.
Unfortunately, they landed in the middle of all of that.
What
definitely gonna. Yeah,
look at this, John Hawley. Out of any car on this planet was to rock this livery. The only car really that can do it is the Lamborghini. But look at this, it's incredible. Except we're going through elevation changes, which is messing my camera up. But absolutely awesome. Trackalicious wrapped around the car there, and just a, what's the Neapolitan? No, not Neapolitan. Sherbert. In the Sherbert livery.
It's got the sherbet. It definitely got the sherbet color chart there. Yeah. Wow, what a stunner! There's no way you're not going to see him coming on the track tonight.
Also, welcome David, welcome Lizzie. Got the 2 Puerto Ricans in chat. Welcome to my favorite Puerto Ricans. Of course, not bias. Also, Palm Tree, that's going to be Charlie Booth, saying that he forgot to change his quali fuel, so he used race fuel. More rain soon, never mind. Nobody can predict these conditions here tonight. Doesn't matter what kind of tech radar you have. Even the fanciest Red Bull radar out there isn't going to be able to predict these tonight.
Yeah, it appears these storm fronts are moving at about 320 miles an hour.
No! As it might be raining again as we speak of it, you can just see the conditions changing, the sun going away so rapidly. This is hilarious.
Was saying out in the particular area of the Midwest I happen to hail from now, and it's, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. And this is quite literal the experience.
As you are speaking those words, the rain is back coming down. So Charlie Booth, who had an opportunity to set a dry lap, was not able to do so. A few drivers did manage to get up there in the timing charts, but not quite where I would have expected. They just weren't able to put the time in because their tires weren't up to temp yet. Run slick fronts and wets on the rear, yeah. As the conditions don't even know what they're doing. This is like Washington weather, to be completely honest, from where I'm from, is it can just be raining 1 minute, and then the next it is sunny, and the next it's bucketing downpours. So it's just hilarious, honestly.
I think it's going to cause some crazy dynamics in the field tonight, in the pace, obviously, in the setting. It not only are we going to see these rapid rainfalls, but it has to also take into consideration that it drastically is going to be changing the track temperature during these intervals of inclement weather.
As you
so
say,
it's going to be very.
It's funny that you mention that. We are currently at a 42-degree track temp. So the track is absolutely on fire. These tires are going to be struggling just to keep themselves together for a lap, nevertheless, in multiple laps here in the race. Hopefully those conditions don't transfer over into the race settings here. Casey Schutte in the slipstream of a fellow Lamborghini. Going to get maybe held up a little bit as he begins a new lap. All of these drivers trying to take advantage of the dry conditions. You can see they're all out on track at one time here, but there's only 3 minutes and 38 seconds left.
Definitely going to probably be a sore spot there for the guys who are already back at the pit station, having to qualify in such wet conditions.
This is just crazy. Can any of these drivers string together a fully dry lap? Ilippo Rautsulainen is actually on a purple lap, but so is Bruno Pio. Definitely keep an eye on both of these. The Garage 59, or the Pigeon Racing, interesting. The Garage 59 here tonight, Vodafone livery. Bruno Pio, Pigeon Racing team member though, I'm pretty sure. So Ali Raza trying to stick a purple lap on. The track conditions are at their best, although they are cooking, as I said before. 38 degrees now. Okay, they're back to a mildly more reasonable temp. They're not cooking as much anymore. These tires have no idea what to do right now, if I had to guess.
As mentioned before, it's just going to be a crazy up and down ride. All the weather piling in, as well as the temperatures for the track jumping up and down. It's really going to test the versatility of a lot of these drivers.
as well as just throw a lot of fun into this. As we have drivers now coming across the line, we're looking at Ollie Raza potentially to set a new pole position lap. Actually, he's way far back there. Ilipo next to the line. Bruno Pio, what is he going to get? Gaining currently up to pole position. Nice job there from Bruno Pio, but I think Ollie Raza is trying to cook up an answer here relatively soon. Charlie Booth as well, going to be putting his name into the cards. What can he pull off? As well, Karu in the chat, welcome.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Ollie is currently working on a heater of a lap. Struggling to get it in before the rain, who knows, comes back again as he screams down the final straight. Ooh, Charlie Booth jumped ahead. And Raza back on P1 with 155.787.
We'll see if that is going to be enough. Definitely better times to be seen here at Nürburgring, but of course the track conditions once again just are crazy here tonight. So anything can happen in racing, and it normally does. And tonight, I know you were saying that before, Chris, that we're going to see these conditions affecting the tires and the drivers. But if I don't see a driver going off in these conditions due to a sudden rainfall, then we must have a very talented grid on our hands. But I definitely would expect to see at least one or two drivers here succumbing to the pressure of the conditions tonight.
Agreed. I believe even in a case of being a more seasoned veteran driver, especially in the ACC atmosphere, with this inclement weather scenario, it's definitely, again, as mentioned before, it's going to absolutely test everybody's skill levels on this, on at least not being able to spin.
As we have it here, Eric the Boss Kakos, you can see people getting out of the way as he parts the season in front of him, coming through the final chicane now, the conditions worsening. Is there going to be rain soon? Nobody knows, as the conditions are getting better immediately after they worsen. So at this point, nobody knows. But Eric Gakosian to the line. What is it going to be for him in the McLaren out of all cars? And it comes across the line as soon as he touches the line. The rain on cue comes down. Eric able to finish his full dry lap. That might be the difference right there. Eric putting himself into a great position. Can Tranghese gain on Gakosian? I'm not sure he's going to be able to. The rain through the final corner. Was it enough to affect his lap? He comes across the line, currently in 10th position. Goes faster into 7th. It was not enough to affect him. Albert toughing through the condition change there at the end, managing to take up into the top 10. A few more drivers on their lap, but I doubt we're going to see too much improvement. Professor Chronotis here, as he's had a few laps a few corners under the rain, few more than most, is going to improve still quite a bit up to 12th position. Not quite able to breach the top 10 yet, just behind Casey Schutte in the Reckless Racing Lamborghini out of all cars for Casey there. And Charlie, very close to pole position, but unfortunately back markers got the best of him there. We do have one more driver on a lap. It's Toluwalese Olujoegbe, the Nigerian driver in the BMW, rounding the final few corners now. He's 3/10 up and he invalidates in the final chicane.
Chronotis looked like he went for a big push there at the end. Kind of caught himself cutting the grass.
Trying to take
wet conditions on and off.
Trying to take the city out of a job there, mowing the lawn for him.
Yeah. Doing a little municipal work while we're racing.
And Forzy, Ashley Forrester, welcome. We have quite a few drivers on the grid here tonight. 27 for this 24-hour race. Of course, as you look at the clock, you say, well, Mike, that's not 24 hours. Well, no, it's not. It's an hour and 30 minutes. However, in-game, we are going to be reaching 24 hours. And as you can see, 3 pit stops on the left-hand side next to your favorite driver's name. You can see that yellow box or the gold box with a 3 in it. It means they have 3 mandatory pit stops. This is going to be a lot of action here tonight and a lot of strategy coming into play, but we need to get in here and meet our drivers. So we have it here. Starting in P1, it's going to be the Glitch Motorsport Ferrari 296 here of Ollie Raza. We'll be starting off strong here. Next to him is going to be the Garage 59 Brazilian driver Bruno Pio, lined up in P2. Charlie Booth in the Box 3 Esports Lamborghini in 3rd position, next to Ilipo Rautsulainen in 4th. And the S is for slow, very pink and purple BMW there. Miguel I'm so sorry. I know how to say this name, and I still can't. Asteron. I'm so sorry, Miguel. Miguel in P5, the Mexican driver. Next to Dennis Chavez in P6. Albert Tranghisi in P7 next to Cassie Jackman in 8th. Eric Gagosian breaching into the top 10 in 9th position there. David Santos, the Portuguese driver, rounding out our top 10. Casey Schutte going to be in P11 next to Professor Carnotis in 12th. Ethan Reed going to be coming up in P13, the MSR Esports driver. Randy Gross in P14, the lovely AMG livery there, the 5 Motorsports Optimum SP. Next to John Hawley in the, not Neapolitan, in the big, very, very bright and colorful Lamborghini that I've already, anyway, Zane Blisket. P16, Bryce Burkhart in 17th overall in the Red Booze Racing, next to Steven Music in P18. Jeff Dallas going to be 19th fastest in the 21.296 Precision Motorsports, the American driver, next to Mike Burkov in another 296 in P20. Adam King going to be 21st fastest in the AKR McLaren, next to Ashley Forrester in P22. And the Alpha Tauri, lovely Aston Martin livery there for Ashley Forrester, of course, repping the BMW and other leagues. Toluwalase Olajoy Egbe going to be lined up in P23, 13th, or number 13. Lucky number 13 for him tonight, we'll see. Darren Thomas going to be in 24th, the number 613 next to Steven Tomazic, lined up in the Zero Gas car in 25th. Let's hope you remember to bring some gas. Rally Duce in 26th, the Lamborghini Performance Evo here in 26th position, 621. And Jaeger Karu flashing his headlights there at the back of the grid. The UWU, the Canadian driver, going to be lined up. Last but not least, of course, P27. The drivers here get on their way and begin their outlap here at the Nürburgring. 3.1 miles, Chris, as we get underway here tonight.
And it's going to be every bit of exciting for every bit of those miles. You gotta expect a lot of these guys, especially in the back, are probably hoping for this inclement weather to give them the benefit. Actually, going to be a lot of spin-offs, potentials, a lot of time to gain position from car correction. Just all-round mayhem of fun in store for everybody involved tonight. Definitely think that we're going to see some heat.
Absolutely, and it's Aste Azeron. I know that. It's just hard to say when you're in the moment.
I thought about helping you, but I wasn't sure if I would get it right myself either.
I already knew it. It's a pain when I know it, but I forgot it in the moment, you know? It is what it is. Aste Azeron there. Miguel, I apologize sincerely. The Mexican driver, I'm sure he can forgive me for that one. Dennis Chavez is going to be coming up right behind him, looking to make overtakes early. Name that I don't think I've seen on the Trackalicious grid. So we will see him, what he has to do. That's for sure. Some energy being thrown the way there of Forzy. Of course, Forzy in that Alpha Tauri livery, and David showing some love for it. There it is. Down in P22. Awesome livery there.
Definitely some creative liveries out there on the field tonight. Especially loving the Sherbert Trackalicious commemorate. Beautifully done. Makes me think of Sherbert. You're exactly right.
Also love this graffitied Mad Fox Racing Lamborghini. I've always said it, but the Lamborghini is just it doesn't matter what Lamborghini you have, is you can literally paint whatever you want on a Lamborghini and it will look amazing. It's like anybody that goes for those, I saw it in real life, a matte black Lamborghini. It's like, why? Why? I mean, it's a Lamborghini, but come on. You could do anything. Literally.
You're right. It just seems to be, especially with Lamborghini, I don't know if it's their design, the lines, the elegant shovel nose that it has, but yeah, a lot of the time you can slap any kind of paint scheme together, livery scheme you can think of, and it just seems to work. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Oh, as it has become one with a 296 behind it.
Yep, as you do.
You can see the drivers here getting ready. All of them lined up here, 2x2 Noah's Ark formation as they come around the final chicane now. It's going to be a long one. 24 hours in game The conditions as it stands, we're looking for the next hour in green conditions. We'll see if that holds up, though. Rounding the final corner now, it is going to be Ali Raza leading us away here with Bruno Pio next to him. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. Next to me is going to be Chris Larondie as we get ready to come down the start-finish straight now, heading towards the first corner of Nürburgring, of course, 3.1 miles, 15 corners, 6 to the left, 9 to the right, and we're green here, heading down to the first hairpin, and it's a smashing start for Ali Raza. The box 3 Lambo is going to be making gains immediately onto Bruno Pio. We're going to go 3 wide down the straight momentarily. It's going to be the outside line as the box 3 Lambo going to be challenging to Ali Raza, get it done early. It's going to be tough, though, as he also has a McLaren down the inside. It's been a great start for Dennis Chavez. They're going to have a little bit of coming together, some bumping and banging. Dennis is off into the runoff area. He's going to lose a few positions as a result. Bruno Pio slips back through, joining the track, some more contact. It's just been a terrible start for Dennis Chavez as he had to remain so far into the outside. We come into the arena sector now, and his car off to the side there. I'm not sure who that was. Everybody, though, managing to go nip and tuck for now. Chris, so far, though, getting a little bit hairy there at the beginning, though, definitely for Dennis.
Absolutely, some very aggressive position battling that was going on there between 44 Ferrari, Tranghis, and Lustanian, sorry. Very intense, insane door tapping. Seemed to be the shoving continued just a little bit, but both came back to a center point, a little bit of an agreement, and decided not to wash out.
Oh no, Randy Gross and Dennis Chavez have had a coming together here on lap 1. This has just been an abysmal start of the race for Dennis here. What has happened? That's Dennis from getting bumped by the BMW from behind. There was no fault of Dennis's there. He was a passenger as well as Randy here. There was nothing either of those drivers really could have done, at least from that angle. It's not go too far, but still, it definitely looked like that BMW outbroke himself and kind of caused a bit of a, well, concertina of cars bumping into each other, and what happened there, unfortunately. Jeff Dallas here as well in P16. He's made up 3 positions so far. Great work from him. Adam King behind up 4 as well. Our biggest losers, Dennis Chavez down 18 positions, and David Santos, I presume, is going to be also down 15. Casey Schutte down 16 positions. Hasn't been the greatest start for some of these drivers, but a few have been off to some incredible gains. 6 positions for Mike, 6 positions for Steven, 6 positions for Ethan Reed.
Again, hopefully we've got the drivers, depending maybe a little bit on this inclement weather that we have coming back, especially I know Casey Schutte, that's got to be an absolutely detrimental hit going back 16 places. Surely he's going to be trying to work and fight back as clean as quick as he can. At this point, again, starting to rely and maybe use the weather in itself as a tactic or a strategy to claim positions, maybe what's in this driver's future. Who knows how up and down this field will change throughout the course of this. There's so much action already, and in lap 1 you got a door-to-door pass. Burkov making a clean pass on Blizzkit now.
It seems like Blizzkit doesn't quite have the response, but that was a very nice overtake there from Mike Burkov, showing his true experience there. He started a bit out of position. We see the Sherbert John Hawley 410 Lamborghini getting a bit out of shape there as he's under some massive pressure from Bryce Burkhardt here. Bryce has been on the up definitely recently, been showing some great gains in terms of his talent, battling here with John Hawley, who's also been on a massive up. John Hawley really putting the work in as of late and making some good improvements in terms of his race finishes. Driving the Lamborghini this time around, and he gets bumped as he goes into the brakes, Bryce Burkhardt, but he keeps under control, but he doesn't. He's off into the gravel. Unfortunately, could not keep it together.
Burkov with an accidental shove in there. I'm not sure if that was related to a lockup of his tires or where that quite came from. Very unfortunate. Definitely slowed Hawley down, kicked him off to the side. He's going to have to rework now, back on track, refocus on his line.
Could be very well that the tire temperatures at this point are getting way down there. Mike Burkov, he is looking so dominant right now in terms of his pace. He must have predicted these conditions, practiced them maybe. Ashley Forrester here, side-by-side action with Adam King, getting the job done. Or is he? On the outside, still going to be sticking with it. Ashley going to have the inside line for the next corner. I think he is going to firmly get the job done. Great job there.
Still being respectful to the other drivers, letting them have their line. He stayed on the inside line when he had dedicated himself to it, even though he was clear.
King there way too late on the brakes and allowing Steven Tomazic to walk his way through there without any contention. Under braking there, flashing headlights, flashing tail. Man's got his hazards on. Steven, what are you doing, brother?
He's just letting all the other drivers know he's dangerous.
Steven Tomazic driving with his hazards on, trying to get into the head of other drivers. Toluwa Olajuegbe here, trying to get the move on to Adam King as Adam is slacking. Adam's deep, but Toluwa says that was the optimal line. Unfortunately, both drivers are incorrect on that assumption. I don't know if there was contact there with Adam King. It certainly looked like there was, as it has gotten.
There may have been a back of a shunt there as it pushed through, trying to get back on track.
As the guys in the truck have to change their filters once again on their cameras. We have David Santos here. Jäger Karu has had a yellow flag incident on the back straight. Looks like nobody else involved in that, luckily. We'll keep an eye here on the David Santos and Toluwaleshe Olajuegbe battle. Actually, a bit further up ahead, Bruno Pio and Ilipo Rautsuline, and this is a battle for the podiums here. The number 14 trying to stick it around the outside. I love the inside line for the arena sector. It isn't going to happen just yet. Washes wide. Oh, what is that we see? That is some windshield wipers coming on. I don't see any rain just yet, but that doesn't mean anything. 16 times time multiplier, of course. It could fall out of nowhere. We may see
again.
Sorry, go ahead.
Weather, gonna focus on the weather again for the 8th time, and just I really do think it throws such a dynamic twist into the entire race night event on itself over the course of the day. Of course, they're coming so rapidly, and like you mentioned before, going into nighttime with the drop in tire temperature, it may have had a lot to do with the kind of overzealous encouragement bump delivered earlier in the race from Burkhoff, but just how this can be affecting the overall stamina of a driver from the up and downs in the weather changes, coupled with being door to door in the head beams as well of all your competitive drivers on the track. It's just a mix of heat, good racing heat.
I will say, I have no idea what the optimal strategy is here. I'm sure some drivers have been doing some homework and some thinking about it. We see the pressure here from Trangisi onto Bruno Pio. This is for P4 here. Cassie Jackman, a bit further behind, is getting involved. Also, I just wanted to say a big welcome there to Killer Mantis. Welcome as well. Devin Anthony in chat. And a livery deep dive redeemed for Ashley Forrester. We'll get to his livery in a little bit here. We're currently watching Albert Trangisi get the move done on the inside. A little bit deep into the corner, though. Is that going to allow Bruno Pio to challenge back? Now onto the outside. He'll have the inside for the coming back round, but it isn't going to happen. He is way too far behind to make any sort of look. Trangisi, signed, stamped, and delivered. Gets the job done in that wounded 296. Definitely a few scrapes and bruises on there a little bit early. Whoa! Ooh, big moment for Aste Azeron, but still as well, bad exit for Trangisi, and that's going to allow Bruno Pio to drive right through in that McLaren.
Bruno Pio didn't waste or hesitate a split second. He saw a window and he jumped in it as soon as he could. Expert driving level there. It's curious. You wonder if some of the drivers have opted for a different tire compound, different tire set to see if it can offset the periodic rain, because you're seeing a lot of change in position throughout this race already. A lot of back and forth and trading of positions in quite a good spread too. It's very interesting.
I will agree with you there in that looking at lap times, we're currently seeing lap times into the 2 minutes, which is very odd here for Nürburgring, especially in these dry conditions. You might be right. Some of these drivers might be opting for those wet tires just as a hinge. If they did, their tires are going to be screaming at this point, as we've had a very dry track. Just a small little sprinkle, as you can see, actually. I think Tranghese is having the opposite problem. You can see him weaving on the straight there. He's trying to get heat into his tires. He's struggling for grip there.
Probably at this point, just again begging for no more sudden bursts of rain and for the sun to come up as quick as possible, just to get that heat back to his tires so he can stay stable.
We have 3 required pit stops here tonight. My prediction, well, optimally you'd be wanting to take one every 30 minutes, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that. Where if we see some heavy rain come for an extended period of time, we're going to see everybody come into the pits. And to be completely honest, we might see more than 3 pit stops here tonight. Eric Gakosian and Mike Burkov. What has happened here? They're going to look back 20 seconds. This is Mike. We see some side-by-side action. That's Eric behind. Mike approaching the side-by-side traffic. Eric there not quite gauging the concertina effect as Mike having to get on the brakes to stop the car in time, and Eric there with a little bit of a tap from behind. I think he recognizes that was unfortunately his bad. He allows Mike through, and they continue on their day. Just a little bit of hindrance. Steven there actually getting an overtake onto Ethan Reed. Very nicely done there. Textbook overtake for the Ferrari. It's so interesting to see these varying strategies and how they're playing out, because I honestly have no ideas. David in chat has said, I love how much of a skill check this track is. Yeah, with this track with these conditions, I will say, is such a good combination. Speaking of David Santos with an error. See?
Yeah, absolute skill check. Just, it's pure test of limits. Oh no, loses control, trying to gas out of the turn, trying to stay on the power, and he got one wheel over the bumper and it sent him across the grass. Hate to see it, hate to see it.
Steven Tomazic and Dennis Chavez. Both of these drivers have made 1 pit stop so far. That's why they're back a bit further than you would expect. Dennis, on a recovery drive, he started, believe it or not, he started in P6. He had an absolute mare of a first lap, unfortunately, and is trying to recover from here. Having a nice little bout with Steven Tomazic. We saw a disqualification, unfortunately, there from Raleigh Duche, potentially picking up 2 penalties on the same lap. That'd be my prediction. Pretty hard to land a DSQ.
Again, yes, it also could have a lot to do with just not being set with the right setup and just absolutely skating as soon as the rain comes down, and then spending a lot of time mowing. Unusual to see a disqualification at this level.
Zane Bliskett, who we saw have a bit of a yellow flag earlier. We didn't quite see it, but he did. And he is now with a nice late send there onto Darren Thomas. Darren, I don't think was going to fight that too hard, and I think Zane maybe thought he was, and getting on the brakes very early. Darren Thomas actually, oh no. How did he end up here? Darren. Is this a case of being too nice? This might have been a case of being too nice. Let's find out. So has that AMG behind. Washes wide. Oh, nope, just onto the curbs. Never mind. Slippery curbs tonight.
Oh, they're slick. Yep, curbs are definitely soaked up. There's now 2 BMWs in a row. Lost just 1 wheel to the curbs, and it's throwing the entire car. It's crazy as they climb through the night time. Some drivers find that the track changes entirely when they're racing on night. They could do it for hours. Seems to be consensus I've heard from some pretty even quick guys that a lot of these tracks can feel completely different at nighttime, especially with brake zones and acknowledgement of where they are on the track, and one of the biggest ones is feel and depth of speed, how fast they're actually traveling.
I will say, especially at night, if somebody takes out a braking marker, it can cause absolute chaos compared to in the daytime. Night driving, definitely a little bit of a different beast. Track temp, always going to be cooler than in the daytime, obviously. What a battle we have here as well. Ethan Reed all over Eric Gakasi, and Eric is really struggling after that little contact he had with Mike Burkov. The McLaren, very susceptible to damage, and it seems maybe a bit of rear end damage for Eric Gakasi, and it could be. I know he didn't take a hit in the rear, I don't think, but that'd be my only prediction for why he's lacking so much pace compared to these other cars around him. The McLaren really struggles when it takes a hit into the rear end. Oh.
Yeah, the car itself on the model, especially, like you said, inside ACC, it has a very fragile skeleton to it, and just the slightest bump can give you the rear aero damage. And it's also one of those cars that falls victim to the effect of it, more so, it seems, than other vehicles in the field. It seems that just a slight bit of damage can ruin the lap pace detrimental in detrimental values. Just really throw you off game.
And we can see the weather has changed once again. As soon as we hop on board there with Mike Burkov on cue, the weather is coming back down, the rain, and you can see the grip immediately loosening as we came through the Schumacher S's there. Now going to be on the edge, the understeer there. Actually quite a bit of grip through that sector. Now heading onto the back not so straight bit. It's going to be Bryce Burkhart's slipstream we have here. And Raleigh lost force feedback during quali, and race was over before it started. Unfortunate, Raleigh. Hope to see you bounce back in the next one. Mike's into the pits. A lot of drivers are into the pits. This is it. We're going to see some drivers potentially come in for some wet tires. That's the real question. It seems like an early call. Looking at the weather, it's going to be a sunny call for the next hour at least. But of course, the 16 times time multiplier, what has happened here? Jeff Dallas and Ethan Reed. Bit of a joker lap there from the extremely damaged Jeff Dallas. Oh, big contact. I didn't quite see what led up to that.
Oh, and he saved it. He also pulled it back, did not ruin another driver's race. That's got to sting. That's some talent, and it's respectable. Also, back with Eric Kukashin's incident, politely waited on the track, realized he'd made that bump error, and it's just the absolute pure sportsmanship and camaraderie with racing with you guys in this group. Just how humbling it is, and how humble that you guys are as a group in races to acknowledge immediately mistakes that were made and to pass through. And just like that, he lost control, took the front end off on the wall, but still had the presence of mind to keep it out of the center of the track to best avoid not ruining anybody else's potential race. It's great. It's great to see stuff like that.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's a great segue, Chris, to go in and talk about what's coming up as well in Trackalicious, because we don't just offer a one-off hyperclock race. Of course, we offer plenty of leagues here at Trackalicious. Starting off here, we can take a look at our Porsche Cup League and our GT3 League. That's going to be coming up here October 22nd, the start of that. Of course, the Porsche Cup race is going to complement the GT3 race. It'll be on an hour before that. Of course, commentated with Dan Versosa. He'll be taking that one with me for the Porsche Cups, and the GT3 with Dominic Smedra. As well here, we have other going on. Of course, the IRL Friend Swap. That's going to be tomorrow. I'm not sure if that one's going to be streamed or not. We need some more signups for that, guys. If you have a friend or spouse or whoever that is interested in taking the wheel in real life, then make sure you guys get signed up for that. All of these can be found over on SimGrid. What? I'm not signed in on... Okay, interesting. We will make do. There we go. You can find the link over on SimGrid. And you can sign up for that. Of course, also coming up, we have our M2 reverse grid. That's on this night, or the 19th, October 19th, this Thursday. Coming up here, the reverse grid M2s out there, all BMWs all the time. Also, our GT4 Rookie Series starting up October 23rd. That's going to be everybody's favorite once again coming back, and our GT4 Open Patreon Championship, which all that information once again can be found over on SimGrid. All of the leagues and league information as well in the Discord as where you can find that. But yes, plenty of action coming up here for the Trackalicious, and some exciting ones at that. Of course, we just had our wrap-up to the Road to the Grand Finals, where we saw the Box 3 Lamborghini, not piloted by Charlie Booth, piloted by some other box 3 drivers, Wes Hepburn, Brian Knappen, and I think that's it, managing to take the top 5 for the championship there in the road to the grand final. So a great result for them, and hopefully they do well in the coming up here on October 28th for the, or is it, maybe it's not October, anyways, for the grand finals coming up. I don't have the date for that, unfortunately.
All exciting news. I know definitely the Porsche Cup is a very big anticipation of my own. I loved the event that we did, the special event down Bathurst. Absolutely amazing time. Lots of good action-packed sequences throughout that entire race. Of course, not to be not expected when racing on Bathurst in cars that are not normally driven, like the GT3 series that we have here. Absolute blast of a time. I'm very excited for all of the races and leagues and series that are coming up with Track Delicious. I think they've been very, very well picked and manicured.
Ooh.
Oh no!
Good save.
What a beautiful save! Eric Garcia
Wow.
saves his butt on NGK chicane. I know it's going to get even dicier the more that this goes on, the more wear the cars put through. That's the one to watch. Is that chicane is going to be, like I said, a dream maker or a dream taker. Oh, beautiful!
Almost like he calculated that one.
Yeah, this is the way I'm going to hop. Let me flick.
Hey, went in a little
beautiful.
bit too deep, minus the missing braking zone. Everything was beautiful. Yes. Albert Tranghese and Ashley Forrester, who we still have a livery deep dive to do here, which we will get to. Let's see, what can Tranghese do? He is fresh out of the pits. So is Ashley Forrester, both of them making one of 3 pit stops here tonight. 1 hour and 8 minutes, 51 seconds left to go. I have no idea what time we started this race at, to be honest, in terms of the 24 hours. So we'll end when we end.
Tranghese making a move now. Been pushing for a while. He's pushing up the heat. Oh, he's trying to force a scenario off of the straight, but I think he may end up having to concede. No, Forrester made the open play, let the door open, let him through.
Great driving there from Tranghese. Forrester.
Textbook overtake.
Let's get a little livery deep dive here into this Alpha Tauri livery, which out of all of the fashion companies, I know you guys know me, I am one for fashion, that's for sure. Alpha Tauri honestly has some pretty dope fashion, I won't lie. But an awesome livery.
I especially love their color palette.
I mean, it's just gray, to be honest, the color palette. But that's, you know,
well,
I can get behind
Tauri, they use a very off-drab green, and it's very pleasing. I am a green guy. I like the color green. There you go. But you're right. Their merchandise as well is very pleasing.
Ashley repping that livery nicely and putting a lot of effort in. Of course, they drove the Red Bull BMW in the previous series, moving off of that over to the Aston Martin and seeing what they can do. And so far, it's looking great. Ashley really struggled in that BMW, you could tell, and it seems like they're gelling with the Aston Martin much better. So great work from him. Put in the effort and put in the time just to get some really solid results so far. 15th position, and he's made his pit stop. Few more drivers in front of him need to make that happen as well.
We have a couple of drivers on the course today that's already completed 2 pit stops. Chavez and Tomazic. They're trying a strategy, I believe, to just get the pits in and out of the way now and try and run the last half in a long stint. Not sure if the strategy will pay off due to the weather change, and eventually we will come back through to a day cycle, and the track will most likely heat up again. So interesting take. It's going to be interesting to see where that plays out for them.
Awesome livery here from Randy Gross. 5.5 Motorsports here, driven by diversity. Sorry, go ahead there. I just wanted to make a little quick shout out there.
Oh, no. The livery's absolutely brilliant. Definitely take the attention. I also love, it's a compliment with the color selection they've picked with that inside onboard light, that nice purple hue. Mercedes is near and dear to my heart. I love this vehicle. Their livery is very nice.
Filippo, he's in for his first stop of the night. Ollie Raza, he's still out in front. I know we haven't touched on him much. He's currently 3.8 seconds ahead of Charlie Booth, looking to extend that lead as well. 155.7 last lap to a 156.4 actually for Charlie Booth, so quite the pace difference. Ollie Raza getting the hammer down at this point and really just trying to pull away, maybe using up the last of his tires before he comes in, presumably around that half an hour mark. And hop on board with him. Why don't we get a little onboard lap here with Ollie Raza just to see what it's like. So you can see him tilt that car in, even, it's just so... Watching Ollie drive is something else, I gotta say. Some of these drivers, they're just built different. Ollie Raza, one of those aliens out there. Just the way that the minimal steering input that they put in, of course, the more steering input that you put in, the more your tires are going to scrub, which means you're wearing your tires more and losing time. You can just see that Ollie Raza, I mean, he drives a lot of go-karts in real life, so he drives this car very much like a go-kart. Very minimal wheel input onto the start-finish straight and getting that hammer down in a straight line. You can see him approaching lap traffic now. That's going to be some blue flags waved momentarily as we come back down to the first corner, and we're going to watch him just get on the brakes so much later than than I can do at the very least. I know there's some aliens out there in chat, but definitely doing it the best here in the lobby tonight. There's no arguing with that.
It's very minimal input, but all of them are intentional. Every single little adjustment is an intentional one by Ollie Raza here on the onboard view. It's very interesting, and like you mentioned, into almost an alien type universe. You can see it as an experienced driver yourself where the car would start to plane and lose, and then somehow there's just one more little twist, a little jab put back on by Ollie Raza that just makes the car turn in and rotate on spot, and just in the perfect line for its exit too. It's definitely something to behold to see some of these more proficient driving tactics and styles, especially when you're on board with Ollie Raza. It's just very, very melodic in its process, and like you said, minimal inputs, but they're extremely intentional inputs, which is really good to see.
Yeah, as you say, he just seems to find grip out of nowhere, which is just something
right
when you're watching,
second.
like you're watching their onboards and you're like, cool, this is it. They turn in exactly where I turn in, but then you watch their minimum speed and you're like, how are they just literally like 10 kph quicker than me minimum corner, or at the minimum speed as we hit the apex? They're built
wild.
Different. Ollie Raza in the Glitch Motorsports. He's a glitch in the Matrix, but we're beyond happy to have him out here on track tonight and setting the pace for everybody else. But definitely, once again, I know I'm talking Ollie Raza up. Don't count Charlie Booth up. Charlie Booth is some of the, I know in chat, we have some Charlie Booth fanboys in chat. So a crazy Kiwi out there. He has put in the results for these Box 3 Lamborghini, or rather the Box 3 Porsche team in the road to the Grand Finals. We also have Mike Nause' mom in chat. Hello, Mother. My mom is in chat. Welcome. But yes, Charlie Booth, a very experienced driver. The Kiwi, of course, New Zealand driver, put in the work tonight, and we've had some massive fanboys in chat. I know Dominic Smedra, one of our fellow commentators, he is an avid fan of Charlie Booth and will go to the edge of the earth for this man. I think he does stream over, at Palm Tree. You know, he's talked a few times in chat. I think he does stream these races live over on Twitch, so if you want to see a very experienced onboard view, then Charlie Booth is going to be your man for that. Also, Bruno Pio, the Brazilian driver in Garage 59, currently in P3, with Casey Schutte in 4th position in the Reckless Racing. He's also made his pit stop, 41 seconds behind Bruno Pio. Of course, here at Nürburgring, your pit loss time, you're looking at around 60 seconds in the pits. So he should actually be gaining a position there onto Bruno Pio, and potentially Casey Schutte is going to be looking even up for the lead of this race potentially.
Yeah, really stunning effort both from Charlie Booth and Schutte tonight. Charlie, I think he's already jumped ahead a few positions from where he qualified. And I think it's the same story for Casey Schutte, actually. I think Casey Schutte's up about 5 positions from where he initially started this race. Really crazy, really good driving. All of our top 5 drivers right now P1 through P5 have yet to take a pit, including Mr. Eric Gukashian, who's managed to get himself into 5th. It's going to be interesting to see how these pit strategies are going to work out, because there's quite a few sporadicness. There's a lot of people who've already completed one of their pits. Like I said before, we've got a couple of drivers out there who's actually already completed 2 of their pits, whether that be to race-related incidents or not. But yeah, again, our top 5 runners right now have yet to take even a single pit, and I think it'll definitely shake up the field whenever they decide to eventually do so. But yeah, going back again, Charlie Booth now in P1, running an amazing night. Oh, the rain has come back on again. We're going to see some test of skill.
It looks like, though, this is going to be a short shower. I just took a look at the weather radar there momentarily in the top right. You can see it was going to be about maybe at most 20-30 minutes of rain, but expect just a very, very short car wash here, and then it should be back to dry conditions. We were watching there Tolu Alashe struggling a little bit in terms of grip, and Adam King trying to take advantage of that, but as soon as the rain fell, Adam King immediately dropping back, and Tolu Alashe Olajoegbe pulling away a good bit.
Yeah. I'm currently on onboard view with Charlie Booth, and I'm telling you, the instant the rain hit, the car became instantly different. As soon as the windshield wipers started kicking on, the rain was going on, the car just started to misbehave right off the get.
You can see that, yes. It's twitching everywhere.
It's all over the place. Again, just bringing it back to that weather dynamic that's just making this entire event just something entirely unique on its own. Just the skill of having to change the drive style, I mean, even your gearing. I'm not really noticing, if I haven't paid any attention too close to anybody, if they're each manipulating their ECU maps to try and offset the rain and loss of instant traction. But nonetheless, very interesting to see this.
It's funny that you bring that up, because you took the words right out of my mouth, Chris. I was actually about to bring up the engine mapping. Yes, as we're seeing Charlie Booth, he's driving around in map 4. That's going to shorten the fuel consumption, but also going to make you very, very slow. It's actually the slowest map. Same throttle map as map 3, which is different model. Okay, this is just confusing to read. Basically, he's in the slowest mode possible right now, trying to save fuel and trying to deliver the power as efficiently as he can, as the track is not quite at the optimum grip. We can see it's a greasy track right now. Lamborghini, typically when you're making a setup for a Lamborghini, you're always making that on a knife's edge. It's going to be a very twitchy, very aggressive setup that is going to basically be ready to throw you into the barrier at any point in time. And as soon as that rain comes down, it's going to amplify that by another factor of basically 10. Charlie Booth, though, very talented, able to cope with those condition changes, you can see here. And going to stick out a bit longer than Ali Raza, so going for the overcut strategy. We'll see how that works out. Ali Raza came in, he did stop for 32 seconds, so took a fresh set of tires. Nice job spending about 55 seconds in the pits roughly, very average pit stop for him. And able to rejoin fairly quickly. We have Albert Tranghisi in P8 here, battling with Cassie Jackman. We saw, unfortunately missed it, with Mike Burkov got the overtake there on Cassie Jackman as well. Cassie potentially... Casey! I'm so sorry, Casey. I know that it's Casey. It's just different to me. That's all. It's Casey Jackman. I knew this.
He will forgive you.
He told me that himself, so I apologize, Casey. But yes, Casey Jackman battling with Albert Tranghisi in P7 here. The 296 trying to pressure the Charging Bull 808 there into a mistake, but these conditions. The Nürburgring, it's a tough track at the best of times to overtake on. Not the most difficult, but still hard to line it up. You got to be very confident and decisive, but with these conditions, you can see the windshield wipers getting flicked on again. It's just everything is amplified by a factor of 10, as I said earlier.
It is, and it just seems like it's instantaneous. As soon as the weather changes, it's an instant upset in the car's play and maneuverability. It's kind of crazy. Got a lot more drivers now in the field that are left with just one pit remaining. Santos now leaving the pit after he had performed his second pit, so he will have one left for the remainder of the event.
As we watch there.
Interesting.
Oh, sorry.
No, go right ahead.
As
please.
we watch, I just want to say we watched Miguel Asteazaron come into the pits there. He came in so conservatively, just not wanting to hit that barrier. The grip into the pit lane, you can see it might be a little standing water in there as the drivers haven't used it too much just yet. Casey Schutte with a brief yellow flag. Not sure what that was about. Potential scare moment here for Casey. Let's go back and find out. He was very close to the box 3 Lamborghini, of course a lap behind. Big curb hit there, off into the gravel, and certainly testing the structural fortitude of his underpants there is Casey Schutte. He's going to have to box and make more than just a change of tires relatively soon.
Yeah, and I can imagine it's going to be the same feeling for all these drivers out there, just these Twitch responses that they're having to deliver directly on the fly, as we saw earlier with Eric and his hop pounce catch that he had to perform. And again with Charlie Booth watching his onboard, and as soon as the rain hits, his car becomes absolutely erratic. It's a crazy mix. It's making this an extremely interesting event as it's going on even further. Again, with the different pit strategies that are being implemented here, I think it's almost like the shuffling of a deck as this thing's going on. It's kind of hard to spectate. all of the changing parts that are happening during this event, but so far just a nuts action. Lots of interesting action that's happened.
That confused me so much right there. I thought we just watched Jeff Dallas overtake Dennis Chavez, but that was Ali Raza, who has the same livery as Jeff Dallas, getting a lap done. I was in awe for a second how he closed a 20-second gap in about half a second, but no, not quite. You can see the overalls here on the left-hand side. Charlie Booth leading this race currently with 3 pit stops left to his name. Bruno Pio as well in P2. Ali Raza, he's got a 2 next to his name. That means he has made 1 pit stop so far, and we'll have 2 more to make throughout the night. 53 minutes left for 2 pit stops. It's going to be some very, very liberal use of the tires, I will say. You're able just to push to the absolute limit here for a free tire change as well, so I think we will be seeing drivers do that. I think there is a mandatory tire change. And some support there for the number 15 car as well. Number 15 is... Who's the number 15? There's no number 15.
Number 15 is R. Gross.
Am I blind?
P15?
That's 55. Oh, P15. That could be. But number 15. Who are we talking about there, Mantis? Who are you supporting? Love to know in chat. Your favorite drivers are out there. So far, it's been more of a battle for the conditions than it has been out on track. Casey Jackman and Mike Burkhoff. And Randy, okay, P15. Yes, you were right there, Chris. Good call. Yep, some support there for Randy Gross in the 5.5 Motorsport Optimize SP. Take another look at that livery because it is an awesome livery. The headlights on the AMG are so bright. They're just, like, for some reason, so much brighter than every other car. But this is a car driven by diversity. Great message to be shown there on the AMG.
It's a brilliant paint job. Very inclusive on the colors and their organization.
Randy getting on the throttle there into the arena sector, looking awfully tidy so far. You can see the steering wheel is almost never straight on this track. It will be for a brief period of time here, but we are going to come back into a very twisty, windy sector. Nürburgring's a very challenging track. It's a very challenging track at the best of times, and we are currently at the worst of times. Track conditions, as it stands, looking actually pretty good. 25-25. We're in a little bit of a warmish track, but still closer to optimum temperatures than we are further away. We had a 47-degree track earlier in qualifying, so, you know, anything can happen. Of course, it is nighttime here in Germany. I don't think we're going to be reaching 47 degrees Celsius at nighttime in Germany. That would be very surprising. That's more UAE temperatures and Bahrain area. I don't think you're going to be seeing that here.
I think it'd be a worrying temperature for everybody else left on the planet.
Yeah. We've been doing too much motor racing if that's the case.
Yeah.
Regardless, Dennis Chavez, there's never too much motor racing. Come on. Dennis Chavez here pressurizing Toluwalase Olajoegbe. Windshield wipers are on for him. I'm not sure that it is raining. I think he just left them on. One of my biggest pet peeves in life, to be completely honest.
Yeah, again, going back to the talking about the complexity of just Nürburgring. It is. It's a test your might track, you know. And it's got levels to it too. You know, in the first set, it's one thing to run through Nürburgring with a full field and stay safe, and in a 20-minute online multiplayer kind of event. As soon as you cross that 30-minute threshold, though, on Nürburgring, given the demand of the what it does to the car, and the tires and the overall setup, it can make you rethink your strategy and how good you thought you were. As soon as you get into that realm, because the track's just it's full of those twists and snaps for turns. It requires a lot of the roll of the car, body momentum, and like I said, keeping that up for a 20-minute stint is entirely different to keeping that up for a 40-minute stint. It changes. The track evolves as you're driving on it, and you have to adapt because it just gets to a point. It will not let you bite in on the apron that tight anymore, and you do have to accept the looser pulling and understeer of where your setup has got itself to after you've spent 30-40 minutes on Nürburgring. It's quite interesting. It's a very humbling track.
It most certainly is, yeah, especially in this back sector here that we're about to watch. This is an extremely high speed and tricky sector that requires a maximum level of focus, and after being on track for a long period of time, that's something that some drivers can start to lack, is focus. It's very easy to get into that mindset of, well, it's very complacent, you've been driving, you get into your rhythm, so-called, as the cameramen are going to have to be changing their lenses relatively soon again, because we're already through the night.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. Even though we're clearing out of the night, there's another level to it as well. A lot of it you can fall into almost a tunnel vision dream state of just, going through the motions of trying to stay alive on Nürburgring, and it can be, I wouldn't know if the word fatiguing is the best description, but it can pull you out of it just instantly. And it's extremely disruptive to keeping pace, but just another factor of why this track in itself is just a legendary track of skill and like I said, test your might. It's here for you.
And Sharpenberry, can I repeat that? Honestly, I don't even know what it said. Bumping and banging though, between Toluwalase Olajoegbe and Dennis Chavez. That was a little uncalled for. I'm not even sure who was at fault. I call that one a little bit of a racing incident. The turn one, of course, a very tight hairpin. Easy to make contact there. Also, Sharpenberry dropping 4 hydrates, of course, saving 1 for later. We'll get that in there. I've already taken a couple. I saw that earlier. I just haven't mentioned it. And we'll get those in. Thank you, Sharpenberry, for keeping us alive here at Trackalicious, and appreciate your support as always. Thank you. But, yeah, Nürburgring so far, like I said, action here on track, definitely down a little bit from what I would have expected at this point, but we are in survival mode, of course. The weather conditions really are the struggle here. The track never able to grip up, and that's kind of the problem. Even when we get sunny, the track doesn't quite dry up in time, even with a 16 times time multiplier, and I have no idea what their tires are doing, to be completely honest. I'd love to hear from a driver to know what that is like.
Well, at this point, all drivers have now completed their minimum of 3 pit stops. Everyone's down now kind of to the 2. Speaking of tire drop-off, I don't know if Tranghese has encountered any problems, but Casey Schutte just seems to kind of have walked around him at this point. I was waiting to see if there was more of a prominent gap being drawn from them to properly confirm that Tranghese's tires or his stability and speed is drastically reduced, but he seemed to maybe just let him by. Again, like you said, I'm really, really, really curious to find out like what's happening with the tire sets and how's it feeling, and what are the changes really doing to them as a driver's mental state, you know?
Everything looking good so far. Oh, I mean, a little bit of understeer mid-corner, or at least on entry there. The car just struggling to grip up a tiny bit, but that's nothing abnormal for a Ferrari. Honestly, looks pretty good in terms of temperatures, pressure. Well, I'm not sure on the temperature, but he looks good in terms of grip. Looking up now at Casey Jackman. I'm so sorry, Casey. Battling with Mike Burkov. He takes to the bullards there. They taking a little bit of a brunt hit, or a brunt force hit there from Casey as he takes his joker lap early. 44 minutes, 52 seconds left here. Mike Burkov 1.5 seconds behind Professor Chronotis. Last lap, 159.9 for Chronotis, 159.9 for Mike. About 9/10 though separating them. 159.0 for Mike. My bad. 159.9 for Chronotis. 158.9 for Casey. So Casey lapping quite good here. Zane Blisket with another error, and pretty sure I think that's the same part of the track that he had an error earlier. Let's take a look here at the Lamborghini. Is this going to be a case of curbs and throttle? I have a feeling we're going to wash out onto these. We didn't even wash out onto the curbs. It was just too much throttle. We've seen a few cars fall victim to that exact same spot there. Inside line is just really lacking for grip.
It comes from the previous apron and the cut on the inside. It chucks the right side of the car up in the air just briefly, and then as it lands, it has kind of a rock pattern to it. And if you don't time it correctly and you put down on your throttle before the rocking has subsided, it just carries the weight off of the back wheels, and you end up performing the same maneuver.
You end up becoming an ice skater and trying to do a pirouette, and that is not quite what you're looking for in terms of staying on track for maximum grip.
Yeah, your mindset changes to, I hope this spins me and leaves me pointing the right way.
Fortunately, though, for fortunately there, we did see the car ending up the right way. Aste Azeron has actually made all of his pit stops already. That's an interesting strategy there. Miguel.
With 43 minutes left.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting strategy. And the potential for more rain.
Most certainly. In the next hour, we're seeing nothing but sun, but 1 hour passes extremely quick here. 16 times time multiplier, 1 hour. I'll let you guys do the math. Chat, help me out with that one. I'm not doing the math live on stream. That ain't happening. That's John Hawley. Hard to miss him as he is in the Sherbert Lamborghini. Randy Gross behind.
There he goes.
Ooh, Randy Gross washes wide, and actually that was Ollie Ross that he allowed through, not Dennis Chavez. Dennis with a, or not Dennis with a similar livery, excuse me, that's a different driver. Regardless, Randy Gross getting dealt with as a blue flag. Potentially going to use Ollie Raza to his advantage. That very well could be here as John Hawley. Going to have to let him by on the straight. Actually going to be the best spot to do it. I think John Hawley getting the best opportunity. Washes wide onto the marbles, though. Interesting spot to let him by. Maybe could have waited a little bit. That's going to put him under pressure, actually, as Randy Gross is going to have a much better exit onto the start-finish straight here, but I think he is a bit too far back, and that Lamborghini's acceleration, my goodness. I think it's a rocket ship in a straight line.
We love the Lamborghini. The exit speed is something to be to behold. It's absolutely nothing but good times.
Coming through the arena sector now, Randy gonna stick with him as it stands. We'll hop on board for a little bit. Big glare of the sun as we approach morning time here. The sun rising over the arena, or the Mercedes arena sector, I suppose you could call it. Coming out into the back sector as we go through Valvoline into Ford here. Heading towards Dunlop. Very tight hairpin. This is going to be your best opportunity to set up an overtake, really. It's going to be a good one at the very least. Won't be your best, but if you can get a good enough exit and set it up here onto the exit, you might be able to line it up into the Schumacher S's, but It's tricky. You got to be so bold and so confident, as these are almost flat out. In these conditions, they are not even close to flat out. The track, though, up to optimum, so we should see some pretty quick lines through the Schumacher S's. I will admit, this is a race like no other that I've cast.
It's very hard to even predict where this is going. And you know, obviously, you know, you got somebody like Ali Raza who's absolutely blazing, running absolute pure heat today, just cutting a line through this whole course. But it's still, even with Ali, and it's still there where there's enough time left and enough changing variables to change it all. It's just, it's hard to, like I said before, it's hard to spectate. Because it's kind of just what's happening now, you know. It's just action in your face. I don't want to use the cliche, you know. Oh, it's any man's race. It's up in the air, but it's feeling a lot like that.
Anything can happen in racing, Chris, and it normally does.
Yeah.
That's what I like to say. So, of course,
I like that saying.
Especially even in, I don't know, I'm not going to spoil anything, but anyone watching MotoGP today definitely felt that one. So. Anything can happen in racing, and it normally does. Like I say, MotoGP today proving that one to be extremely true. We'll see today if Ali Raza can maybe have a similar, but we'll hope not. Ali keeping it together as it stands. Stephen Music and Toluwalase Olajoyegbe gonna have a little scrap for P14. Toluwalase yet to make his second pit. Stephen Music has. So on different strategies, we might not see Toluwalase fight this too hard. Although, the Nigerian driver, I'm not sure he is one to not fight. We'll see. Determined as ever, is he going to do it? He is going to put up a defense, it looks like. As I said before, they are on different strategies, so Steven going to be on much fresher tires than Toluwa. Coming through now to the Dunlop hairpin. It's going to be a bit further back than he would like to be, exiting now towards the Schumacher S's. Deep goes Toluwa, but not quite there for the 296. He's not, just doesn't have the exit speed. The BMW looking awfully strong. Toluwalase definitely putting in some practice here, getting a setup dialed into the level where he can keep it very controlled. It's been a while since I've seen him on track, and finally he's back, and he's looking awfully strong. I love to see it. Maybe even stronger than he was when he left, I'm going to be completely honest. So he's definitely been putting in the effort. Steven, though, trying to knock him off his high horse. We'll see. As we approach the 25th lap, we're coming through the final chicane now. Heading towards the Coca-Cola curve. Behind us, that is going to be a back marker. And actually in the pits there goes Toluwalase, like I said, is going to be on a different strategy. So just in we go and not fighting that. Side by side, though, Trangisi and Schutte. This is a tight one. Trangisi, though, looking like he's by for now, but Casey, he could come back at any time here.
Yeah, Casey's absolutely running numbers tonight. Definitely seen a crazy performance so far. Lots of lead taking. He's had to forfeit a couple of positions, but in a quality of life decision-making scenarios is where he forfeited those out. He's just really been doing really well. Racecraft on point tonight for Mr. Schutte. Just really couldn't be more impressed with how well he's handling his race this evening. It's just, and like you said, he's this position could be his in a couple more turns, because that's how the change-ups have been happening so far tonight. Really eager to see Schutte do well.
This is very odd here. Sorry to interrupt, but Casey,
no, good.
He was doing much better before when we checked in on him. He currently has made 3 pit stops, but he has 1 remaining, which means he's made an extra pit stop. I see no penalties. I'm not sure what happened there. Casey has made 1 extra pit stop for some reason, and it has not counted. So, very interesting. I don't know if there's no drive-through. I don't see any drive-throughs. I don't see any stop-goes.
Well, let's hope it's a judgment and error. Was there maybe a particular ruling that it's a 25-second minimum fuel fill-up per pit stop?
It would be fixed if that was the case, I would think, but I don't know, quite frankly. 27 seconds. You're right, though. I do see what you're saying, and that he was stopped for less time than expected. But so was Bruno Pio. But he has counted both of his stops. Made it about the exact same time stop as Bruno Pio there. So that is very odd. I have no idea what has happened to Casey Schutte and why he has one more stop. That didn't count. That is so weird. Definitely hurting his race because he is much further out of position. I would have expected him to be done. I looked over and I thought he was done with his strategy, but he's not. So he's actually going to fall back a bit further than, well, we expected. That's for sure. I have no idea what to think of that.
When the last time we checked in on him, yeah, you're very much a different speed.
And tires required, perhaps they didn't take any. Maybe Sharpenberry, and also you might be right. It might be Musique. That very well could be. Let's see. Where's he from? Steven. He's American, so actually I think it might be Muse. It might be Musique, but I think it's Music. Until I'm told otherwise, I'm going to stick with Music because he is American. Or at least his flag identifies as America, so we'll roll with the American pronunciation of it for now.
His first name is Steven.
Yeah, yeah, that's... yeah, very American, but... It's a good question, though, I will say. Casey has caught up to Tranghese because Tranghese caught up to a back marker. Casey onto the inside, the final quarter now through the Coca-Cola curve. He's going to get the better exit. That's Steven Tomazic in front of us there. He's not getting out of the way. Side by side we go. Casey Schutte not able to get the advantage. Tranghese tucks to the inside here. He's going to go defensive into the first corner. The outside line picked for the 3-4-3. He is going to hand it to both of them there. Nice blue flag driving from Steven, but causing a little bit of chaos for Casey. Casey coming off the worst there. Albert taking that advantage. The 44 car ahead for now.
Definitely, Schutte's trying to work on a line of staying aggressive. He's definitely not trying to let the 44 car gain pace on him. He does not want him to walk away.
And Dom, welcome. Also, who's in the booth with me tonight? Who is in the booth with me tonight, Chris? Why don't we you tell me a little bit about, or tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah,
I put you on the spot there. Fair enough.
I like windy walks on the beach, warm conversation, some book club poetry, you know, a tea that's warm. Yep. No, I am Mr. Larondie. There you are. I have absolutely fell in love with the Trackalicious group. Made a connection through kind of partner enthusiast stream. Had somebody jump in and kind of make themselves aware that they were there, part of the Trackalicious community and all this other stuff, and I felt very intrigued, so I wanted to look into it, and have been nothing but impressed so far with not only the talent and the quality of drivers and participants throughout the community, just the overall humble exterior with a more than welcoming approach to letting newcomers join and adapt and learn and grow. The GT4 Rookie Series League, absolutely amazing. Nothing but a good time, all inclusive, lets everybody get in and really work and learn with each other. So I've absolutely loved this experience with Trackalicious so far. Couldn't be happier to be here and to be considered even just remotely as a friend. But yes, I am Larondie. There you go. Larondie is I.
Yeah, big thank you to Chris
for this evening.
Thank you, Chris, for joining me tonight. And so far, yeah, definitely looking awesome.
Thank you for having me. Seriously. And cheers.
The deserving of Sharpenberry's final hydrate, he says. So that is definitely something to be said. Also, Dom in chat. Welcome, Dom. Supporting train going. Love to see that. As well, Dom, I know I said it before. I think I mentioned it specifically that you are a massive fanboy of one of these drivers that is currently out there on track and in an amazing position himself, Charlie Booth, the Kiwi driver, currently in P2 and looking very, very strong. 81 seconds ahead of Ilpo Rautsulainen. It's about a 60-second pit stop. So we are going to be seeing Charlie Booth stay in third, but he's 3.6 seconds behind Olli Raza. And actually, he's going to be our new race leader, at least for the time being. Overcut strategy. Go ahead.
I'm just commenting. I think we might see a little bit of a change up, especially with Rautsalainen and Pio have both decided to render themselves. Oh no, off track. Just gonna cut the NGK chicane. It's just what we have to do. Sorry, sir. I'm watching a different section. But yeah, I think there's going to be a change-up. Rautsalainen and Pio they're down to their last pit, and we've got ahead Charlie Booth and Ali Raza, who both of these guys I just aforementioned are definitely trying to chase down, especially before the end of this. And they both still have 2 pits to make, so that's very detrimental to how this the last pole positions could shake up. Definitely before the end. We're only in 29 minutes left, and 2 of these pits need to be made by both Charlie Booth and Ali Raza, and it's going to be interesting to see where that gets shuffled out. So very interesting to see. It's getting more and more exciting.
Most certainly is. Kuroda's here, caught up with Casey. They both have 1 stop to go. We're approaching the 29-minute mark here. We have sunniness for the next hour. That, of course, once again, 1 hour means about nothing. I have no idea how the 16 divided by an hour, whatever, however long that is in terms of...
Let's just say blazing hot sun, 4 rain showers, and some sleet.
There you go. That's blazing hot. 41 degree track temp. We've gone from 25 degree track temp at our peak lowest up to 41. We've had a change of 20 degrees.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. I haven't seen an event like this. I'd love to actually. I'm now kind of upset I didn't decide to try and enroll to this event, because this looks like a test of the merits. You know, just insanity so far. Look at Shooty making the push.
He's also made his final stop. That is the key thing. His 4th stop, for some reason, was his final one. I still don't understand that.
I think he might have heard us and realized that there was something missing. But he's back in the flow, just like a champ. Perfect little introduction into the inside there. Absolute masterclass overtake. Oh.
Casey's head down. He's on a charge. He smells blood in the water up ahead, potentially, from Mike Burkov. And the Larondie Racing, an awesome livery. That's a real-life livery, of course. The Larondie. Yeah. And up ahead, Steven Music and Bryce Burkhart. And the Red Booze Racing. Interesting, no longer in the Bees and the Booze. Driving the BMW this time around. Of course, Bryce used to be a Porsche driver. Changing it up a little bit here. So far, P11 looking awfully strong. All of these car changes that we've seen from these drivers have resulted in really good results. I think Tolu Alashe is like the only driver that I know who used to drive the BMW and is still driving the BMW. Let's not pay any mind to that. Let's pretend like I didn't see that.
That was par for the course.
Definitely not a little bit of a curse there, but not a big curse either. Not worthy of an exclamation mark curse, but still. That was very on timing there for Tolua to make a mistake.
Yeah, right. Hey, by the way, you did it.
One job, Tolua. You got to keep it between the mayo and the mustard.
Yeah,
that's it.
No, he's got a spider in the car with him.
Steven Tomazic in the 0 gas. He's looking like he pumped plenty into the car for this one. But coming up now through the NGK chicane into the... NGK chicane into the Coca-Cola curve. Needs to be very careful. Actually, no, he doesn't. That's a back marker behind. Excuse me, Ethan Reed. Much further behind. Turn your dang windshield wipers off, man. Chavez in 9th. Ooh. Bryce with an optimistic pit entry there. What happened there? Let's take a look.
Instant replay.
It's the M4. Whoa!
Hey!
Okay. Forgot the middle pedal existed momentarily. Luckily, did not end the life of that Ferrari in front, and he thinks that's a great time to come into the pits to make his final stop, does Bryce, which, you know, fair enough.
I like that pit entry too. It was like you didn't see nothing.
Bryce,
that's what that was.
I meant to do that. That was the line. I meant to.
I was totally going to go in the pits like that. That's just the flair.
It was 100% calculated.
You see these aerial views and that worn-in rubber on the track there showing you where you need to be. Just great design and artistry when it comes to ACC, when it comes to that. The rubbered-in marks on the track are actually one of the more accurate rubberings that you can see in any sim title. I know that's kind of a footnote pointed out in this epic race that we're watching right now, but it definitely does help you get a little faster, as you can see all these guys follow that line. It's hard to get out of that rubber, but just a beautiful track in general, just all of it, all the vista of it.
You know what isn't beautiful? That stop-go 30 penalty picked up by Bryce Burkhart for that overly optimistic pit entry. Also, Tranghese there crossing the white line, and he nails the wall! That wasn't Tranghese, that was Chronotis! Oh no, Chronotis! Making a mare of it! Chrono! How did he manage this? We gotta go on board here. We see it. He makes a late decision to come into the pits, and he just doesn't get the car stopped in time, and he clobbers that inside pit wall there.
It's unfortunate.
He does get the car stopped in time with the pit limiter on, so he isn't going to be receiving a penalty there, but that's such an easy thing to do after making a mistake like that, is you just get into that seeing red mentality where you just hit the throttle and then end up making your race even worse off. I think luckily Chronotis, though, skilled enough to see that, but big mistake.
Yeah, and it can happen. You know, they've been running this already for a good hour now. You know, it's going on the hour mark, and they've been running the same lines, same turns, same degrees, same throttle off entry, all of it. And just as something as subtle as swinging in a little extra to get into that pit lane can sometimes throw somebody off, throw a guy off. And like you said, he may have come in there hot, like, I need to bring as much speed into this as I can, because that's the name of the game. That's what we're doing. You need to shave time. Tense. But given the fact that he's been running this track on the actual corners for such a muscle memory style period of time, it can really mess with somebody when they come into the pits in that fashion, because it's just that slight bit more extra turn. It's a step out of the muscle memory is what I'm actually trying to define. And it can create accidents like that. It can create just a lack of judgment off by a hair, where he was trying to blaze in, but because he hasn't been doing that same turn for the last 30 minutes, it just threw him off just that enough. And that's all it takes for a mistake of a big magnitude, especially severe damage to the vehicle, and you're out of the race. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
But I've definitely seen a couple of guys fall for that a couple of times, especially in the endurance realm where they're racing on the track just fine, and they're nailing pace. You know, they're barely off of themselves by a tenth in any given lap, and then it's time to pit, and it's just slightly off from their muscle memory that they've been doing for the last 30-40 minutes. Oh dear, what do we have here?
Steven here, coming up to the NGK, to the Schumacher S. Where are we? We're on the back straight here. We're heading up to the NGK chicane.
NGK, yeah.
And looking for a braking marker. Looks like back end just steps out. Weird. Big lockup, something there. Just maybe locking up the axle, potentially getting it stopped and just going through the gears maybe a bit too early. That was an interesting one there, losing the back end. Yeah. But yeah, back to what you were saying there, and that it's one of my biggest things that I always preach is practice your pit entries, everybody.
Yeah.
You can practice as many laps as you want on track. You can practice it in any condition you want, but if you don't practice your pit entries, that's going to happen. But also, Chronotis, I think he just showed a little bit of indecision there. But
that
what
happened
happened.
A large part to play, yeah.
It's raining again. And it's going to be raining hard for another hour. We might see some drivers come in for some wet tires here. So any driver that's already made their final stop, they might be at a massive disadvantage here. We'll see. Our driver's going to come in for their tires. Looks like this is going to be the real change in conditions. Bruno?
It's just a good thing at this point we don't have any onboard mics for these drivers, because I'm sure the explanatives are going to be coming out rolling when this rain just hit the track.
I feel like
especially like you said, those guys that have already completed their pit requirements, you know.
Ollie Raza looking like he's going to be in a strong position. We'll probably see him come in this lap. Dennis Chavez, who has made an incredible recovery drive, he is going to be happy to see this as well. Man was down in like last position at one point here after an absolute mare of a first lap. Dennis Chavez with an amazing recovery drive back up to where he started, but he's going to be trying to make that even further ahead. And I think he definitely can do this. It's raining. It's raining hard. We see nobody in either. The thing is these conditions aren't changing. We've seen now one victim fall to the weather now. Jaeger Karu, the first one. Currently last on track. This isn't going to help the gains, that's for sure. Just getting on the throttle too early. Pitches the car off into a very upset trajectory into the barrier.
It's raining, it's pouring, and this race is definitely not a boring.
I see what you did there.
That was some I put some cheese on it there. I like cheese on my Big Macs. Absolutely, again.
Jaeger, stop watching the stream while you're driving.
Stop looking at me. All right, now it's time for an onboard view.
Right, yeah, and we go on board with the, no, we'll go on board with Mike Burkhoff here. Take the pressure off a little bit here.
Yeah, give him some time.
I need a points redemption to have a non-full onboard lap. That way you can avoid it. But
you got to take this in here. What a view. You got to love that, the individual spray off the back tires.
Well, Mike's going to be in this lap. His fuel light just came on. I don't know if you caught that, but his the yellow light just popped on for his fuel. He's in a good spot at the track for that to happen. That means he's got about 1 or 2 more laps of fuel left. But down to the bottom of the barrel. I didn't know that turned on. That's cool.
Oh
so
yeah, that turns on. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know
I
didn't know we could see it as spectators. A lot of the things in game you can't see.
That's true. I know the Mercedes, it'll drop a fat red bar right across the top of the LDC.
Same with the McLaren.
Display. Yeah, like you need it.
Oh, Mike's not going in. Okay, he's on low fuel, but he is going to be pushing. He's going to be maximizing the minimum weight that he's got and trying to maximize the minimum speed as well.
Using the classic driver's mentality of just one more. Let's see him go.
We have one car on the grid, the Zero Fuel Motorsports of Steven Tomazic, or Zero Gas, rather. Hopefully Mike Burkhoff doesn't take notes from that team. I think he'll be all right,
reflecting.
Though. The wet conditions, he's currently
through, too.
What map's he driving in? He's driving in map number 1. Okay. Man's racy. Wait, but map 1 isn't the race map, though, for the Ferrari, is it?
Yeah, I believe it is. The ECU1 is.
Is it? I thought it was like map 9 or map 8 or something. Ferrari's got a weird engine map, I remember.
You may be right, because I think they're backwards in comparison to the rest of the other field.
Yeah.
The rest of the field.
I remember the Ferrari having a very odd engine mapping. Let me see if I can find it. Ferrari 488, Ferrari Evo, fast. No, it is okay. Fastest. No, engine map 1 is race map for the Evo. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, but no, that's the Ferrari 488. No, hold on. That's not the 296. That's the 488.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Almost rear ending Zane Bliss. Get the speed difference there. I'm not seeing the 296 actually. I don't think that was my computer, everybody, in case you're curious. That little badoop. No, they don't have the 296 on this website, unfortunately.
And then I will also retract my statement because I'm not sure about the 296, but I do know that it is the way for the 488.
Yes, correct.
Yep. Just going to point out, we're going back to Tomazic, noticing that Forrester and Tomazic are the only 2 entrants tonight that decided to run with the Aston Martin.
Very true, an interesting observation. Yeah, that car has not seen too much love since 1.9. Also, Mike's out another lap.
It has not.
Oof.
And given prior information to the 1.9 update, the Aston Martin would have felt like a good choice for this, especially for Nürburgring, giving it its handling base and its tight turns. But yeah.
Toluwaleshe needing a new change of pants as well coming into the pits, but he unfortunately has made all his stops. But stop go 30 picked up, speeding in the pits for the Nigerian driver there, unfortunately. We have Mike Burkov here still gaining on Zane Blisket, not able to get the overtake just yet. We're back into the dry conditions, so as I thought earlier, we would see some wet tires maybe being strapped on. Any driver that did that would have been punished severely, and I would have been victim to that, no doubt. So the driver staying out for a little bit longer, Ali Raza, who still has not come in for his final stop yet, same with Charlie Booth, and also Dennis Chavez. They're going to be out for a while now. They're going to be benefiting massively off of this, and, well, quite frankly, looking like they're going to be finishing in the position that they're in is Ali Raza and Charlie at this stage, but 15 minutes and 50 seconds left. As we said before, anything can happen in racing, and it normally does. There's only 6 seconds separating Ali and Charlie. It's one mistake. I will say, though, Ali Raza, he's not necessarily known to, well, make mistakes.
Yeah, that being said, though, we've got both again. Like I said, Ali Raza, Charlie Booth are still left with one pit left to complete. We're down to 14 minutes now. We got Rutsalainen coming up behind. Yeah, I think he's only about 5.5 seconds off the back of Charlie Booth as far as the disparity goes.
He's 86 seconds down.
I was wrong about that. He's 86 seconds down. I was horribly wrong.
He's a little bit out of reach right now.
So 86 seconds, and we're going to take that math into consideration, like we mentioned earlier. You know, on a given pit here, we're looking about a spent time factor of what did we agree on? 55, 60 seconds. It'll get us close. It's going to again be interesting to see if it does change up. See the cards change up and these guys get ahead. But
I think he's going to be alright. I think he's
going
to be alright. He should be fine. Both Charlie and Ali Raza are both very talented drivers. Like I say, they're not known to put a foot wrong. John Hawley there, the back end stepping out under braking. You can see squirming as he tries to get the overtake onto Randy Gross. We're going to put the pressure back onto Jäger Karu here as he is coming around the middle sector now. Why don't we hop on board as well? Heading now into the Dunlop hairpin. Got a wounded AMG, not quite showroom ready, that's for sure. Now getting onto the brakes at the change in curbing there. Down the gears to first. Has a back marker coming up behind. Going to get out of the way here, I presume. Nope, not quite. Going to wait, turn. Not the best spot there. Very, very decisive decision making there from Jäger. Riding third gear through the Schumacher S's. And behind us, who is that going to be behind us? That is, of course, going to be Steven Music.
Very smooth inputs being shown here by Kaoru, man. Very,
getting out of the way. Picking an interesting time, too. I think, in my opinion, should have waited for right here. Lift it off, maybe just on the straight. That way you lose a little bit less time, but that's okay. Yeah, you're getting by in or rather, letting him by in a safe spot, so no
that was
harm,
safe.
no foul.
Kept it kind of wide. That was good.
Not sure Steven was fully expecting it, to be honest.
Well, what can you expect in this race so far? He probably went to go past and was like, please don't start raining right now.
And everybody, round of applause. Jäger Crew has survived a minor bit of an onboard, so either turn the stream off or is coping with the pressure or losing it in his seat.
Doing very well. Very smooth looking inputs, very methodical looking decision making.
No, absolutely. Driving very well and improving a great amount throughout. Driving just with these, with the caliber of these drivers, you learn so much out on track, and Jäger going to be hopefully learning a lot from this one as well. Mike Burkov and Zane Blisket. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it goes back to what I was mentioning before about the things I'm liking about Trackalicious is that even with the quality of some of these guys and these drivers, there's never a position or an opportunity, and it's unfortunate in some leagues and races that the faster guys would like to let you know that they're the fastest, and quite often, and it's just not the case in Trackalicious. They're actually the opposite of that expectation. They're more than willing to give input to make you competitive with them, because At the end of the day, that's what they love more than being the best or being an alien or being that fast, is the camaraderie and the community of it all, and it just shines out to me. And again, it's a lot of what I'm seeing is the Trackalicious credo, and even the fastest guys in the group are more than helpful, willing to help the guys who are learn, and it's just not always the case, and I really like to see it.
That is why I've been a part of this community for the longest, or for the amount of time that I have. So, you know, it is just one of the best out there. I couldn't agree more. But I'm a little biased. But also, like I say, I've been in this community for a reason, and that's why Ollie Raza is a fine example of that. So is Mike Burkov, to be fair. Mike Burkov, an extremely talented driver and very out of position from where I would normally see him. He is willing to help you at really any opportunity he can, and he'll go out of his way to do so. So will Ollie. So will, like you say, a lot of these drivers. It's just such a good community that we have here. John Hawley in the Hyper Vibe, the Sherbert Lamborghini. Send and a half, takes the cone out. Okay, John. Definitely he realized that was not quite on, and he lets Randy Gross go. But what an optimistic move from John Hawley.
Exactly. Again, though, testimony to exactly what I was just talking about. That was a very humble decision that he made there to slow down. He realized the mistake he made, instantaneously made the correction, gave the position back. Nothing but good sportsmanship in that entire incident, even if he would have lost his gripping there. It's just great to see.
And Mike Burkov, he has a great view of the lovely livery of Zane Blisket. I'm not sure he particularly wants that view because he's been stuck behind Zane for the past 4 or 5 laps now, not able to dispatch him at really any opportunity. Clearly has the pace, but just not quite able to get the job done. Zane Blisket defending, well, masterfully as it stands. And Zane repping, like I say, the Mad Fox Racing here. An awesome livery. No, why'd I say anything?
No.
I'm
the
sorry.
Push was too much.
Zane.
The push was too much.
Oh, exclamation mark, curse in chat. Oh, no.
Burkov showing the dexterity this evening in his event, man. Actually using the pressure to just get the mind game going for him. Had the Lamborghini step out and left the door wide open, and Burkov again utilizes that opportunity.
Please nobody send that to Zane. He's gonna hate me forever after that one.
We were all watching, Zane.
Oh,
you had no
man.
option.
That was brutal. Well, he was driving a defensive masterclass until he made an error, and now he isn't. John Hawley, he's going to have to drive an offensive masterclass here to dispatch of Randy Gross. 7 minutes, 51 seconds left to go. So running out of time here. It's been almost 24 hours. Not really, it's been almost an hour and a half, but 24 hours in game. So one of the most exciting and interesting races, and in terms of strategy, I just have no idea what to even think, even at this point.
There's really no guessing to the strategy. It's so up in the air, and I honestly think it would be a fair assumption to say a lot of these drivers were probably making strategy as the race was going on.
I don't think there's any way you could go about. I don't think you can predict a strategy for this.
I definitely think that they went in with good intentions, had a strategy, had a plan of attack. And then the first sheet of rain hits, and that just gets thrown out the window. And I really think what we've been witnessing is another testimony to the talent of the guys driving, is that they've had to basically develop their strategy as the race is going on. There was whatever predetermined they had would have to have been an extremely lucky guess.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw there Cronotis getting by Miguel Asteazaron. Asteazaron on a very old set of tires, 30 minutes older than Cronotis's. And Cronotis making fairly easy work, having to fight a little bit. Miguel giving it everything that he had and a little bit more, but not quite able to hold on. The grip just not there for him. Doesn't matter what he did, Professor Cronotis just has more rubber on his tires and is able to take the corner quicker. John Hawley, though, still not able to get the job done onto Gross. They are on exactly the same length older tires, literally down to the second. Their boots strapped on at the exact same time, so no advantage for either driver. John Hawley going to be looking for the send potentially. It's going to be a bold one if he can make it happen. We're coming down to the not so straight, heading up towards the NGK chicane now. Going to be maybe trying to set it up for the Coca-Cola curve. Takes it nice and tight. That Bullard not getting destroyed, which is interesting. It just gets clipped through. Round to the final corner now, into the start-finish straight. That's going to be Zane Bliskett in front of us as well. It's now become a three-way battle for P13. Inside
Almost
line.
seems like there's a kind of a nemesis factor here between Gross and Haley. It's just they've been on each other for a good portion of the race now. And we know we can see this back because we've got the beautiful livery Merc against the Sherbert Lambo. He's really pushing on the door. He's definitely poking to see holes in his weakness, holes in his strategy to kind of exploit some weakness, trying to make his way in.
Ollie Raza is going to be coming up behind them in about 5 seconds. Or, well, not in about 5 seconds. He's about 5 seconds behind. He'll be gaining within the next few laps. So approaching this battle, it's going to be a tough one in order to dispatch this, is these three are not going to be wanting to give up an inch. Nevertheless, having to give up a position to a blue for a blue flag could potentially cost them a position in the race. Could potentially cost Zane too. Zane, he is falling off the cliff, I think, in terms of his tires. 159.4 was his last lap. 157.9 was Randy's last lap, and a 157.5 for John Hawley, who's getting very fighty indeed.
Yeah, he just keeps poking and prodding. He's back there behind Gross, and he's trying to force a window to open, and it's a strenuous process, especially because you're doing the poking and the stabbing, and you could offset your own line, and then the next thing you know, you're drilling the sand or cutting the grass. Oh, here he is making his moves.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm a firm believer in once you go for an overtake, you go for it and you make that overtake happen. I don't like making little looks. It just gets them. I don't think it does much personally.
It gets the whole scenario unplanted. Everything becomes unstable, including the car, the driver, the decisions that are being made.
You're driving off reactions, I think is a good way of putting it, and it's just not really, you want to be planned. Every moment you in these races want to be planned, and there's a little bit of curb taken there, but also a good opportunity for Randy Gross to have a move into the arena sector. Not quite going to happen. Zane slams the doors shut there. He left it wide open, though, I will say. That could have potentially been an easy overtake for Randy if he was ready for it, but I think he ran a little bit deep, wasn't able to capitalize. A bit further up, we see Eric Gakassian having a send onto Miguel Asteazaron. Not going to happen, though. Miguel, late enough onto the brakes, washes it wide and keeps the position for now. Trying to keep those old tires alive.
Yeah, Eric definitely smart enough to see that there with the maneuver he made, that he just left the margin a little too short, and he backed off and he stayed inside to make sure that there was no confusion with an overpush for in front of him. It was very well done. Very well timed as well.
We also have a battle between the two differently spelled Caseys. Casey Schutte and Casey Jackman, both in the Lamborghini Evo 2, though. Trying to get job done. Whoa, what has happened here? Zane Bliskett is under threat from Randy, and he's almost gone off the track. John Hawley now onto the outside. Is he going to be able to make something happen? Zane back down the inside. Can he get the position back from Randy? No. Randy is going to be ahead for now. John Hawley makes contact and is going to be off. He does save it. But little contact with a big outcome there. John Hawley going to be falling off the wagon there. Needs to get back onto it. Eric Gakassian also.
All three drivers there were flattening their teeth in the aggressive stance they were driving in there. That was absolutely insane.
It's been 24 hours of racing down to this last minute and 48 seconds. Well, not really, hour and a half, but still, I can say 24 side by side we go. Miguel.
He wasn't just going to let it happen this time round.
Miguel is
Eric
driving
making
so
moves.
well. I just got to get.
They all are driving really well. All of them are driving exceptionally well.
Miguel on 53-minute-old tires compared to Eric's 15-minute-old tires. And he is defending so well, but how long can he hold on? Can he hold on for one more lap? Oh, it's going to be tough. That's the error that Eric was waiting for.
Let it happen.
And he gets it done easily there. Miguel not able to hold on for one more lap. And that looks like where he is going to reside in terms of position. Steven Music about 15 seconds behind. It'd be very impressive if he caught up. The Mexican driver there, unfortunately, knocked out of the top 10 on the penultimate lap by Eric Gakassian. The Armenian working his way up.
Brilliant effort, especially on 53-minute-old tires. Absolutely amazing defense. Really kept him down to the last second on that, keeping Eric off of him. It was very well done by Miguel.
Casey into the first quarter here. Casey Jackman, this is. Chasing Casey Schutte. Rear end. Just gone. No.
Oh, he saves it.
He does save it. That was a very slow and lame, just a very slow crash. It's very, not crash, but you hate it. He saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah, corrected it well, though. Got back on track.
Bruno Pio, 1 lap to go. Can he get it done? On to Ilipo Ratsulainen for the podium positions. This is going to be the one to keep an eye on here. Who are we going to be talking to after this race? Is it going to be the Brazilian or is it going to be the Finn? So far, the Finnish driver looking strong. Ilipo Ratsulainen, the number 666 in the BMW. He's been an absolutely incredible defensive driver, and to be honest, Bruno is running out of opportunities for overtaking this track. The turn 1 going to be your best chance. There will be no more turn 1s to happen this rest of this race, at least for these two. Coming now into Valvoline, and Ford now outside line being picked. Bruno might be trying to take advantage of this back marker. Ilipo getting held up momentarily by, I think that's Ashley Forrester in the Aston Martin. It isn't going to happen just yet, though. Bruno, though, has gained a lot, heading into the Dunlop hairpin. Going to take the alternate line switchback attempt for Bruno. Is he going to get a good enough exit? No, he tucks into the outside, goes back for the inside line for the Schumacher S's, but not going to happen. One more solid overtaking attempt it's going to be for Bruno Pio. And he's going to have some confidence. The Coca-Cola curve is going to be his best shot now. Leader's finished the race. Ollie Raza has come across the line.
His only shot.
With Charlie Booth behind. But once again, 30 seconds behind them. All eyes are going to be on this battle here for the final podium paying position. Great race, though, from Ollie Raza and Charlie. Or great drive, rather. They didn't have too much battling. These two, though.
Chicane.
I think Bruno gaining. Is Bruno going to have it here? He's off onto the grass.
Inside.
I don't think it's going to happen. Bruno with an incredible effort.
It can't happen. Amazing. Oh, boy. That one, yeah. That was some racing right there. That was the position to have.
And Ilipo,
beautiful effort.
Third position finish there. Bruno Pio, unfortunately, in fourth. Not able to make it happen at the end, but you can see respect being paid. And yes, what an incredible race. Albert Tranghisi next to finish for the position places. Next in general, Randy Gross, though, who's going to finish ahead of that battle between Zane Bliskett and John Hawley. This is going to be for 13th, 14th, and 15th across the line. Nice little flash of the headlights for Randy. And that was confusing. Yes, it most certainly was. Charlie, you summed that up very well. Gabri, thank you very much. D Gabri 15, thank you for tuning in. And Charlie, if we could have you head over to the green room, please. Both you, Ollie Raza, and Ilipo, all three of you, excuse me. If you guys could head into the green room for some driver interviews if you guys want. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this race. And that's Chavez. Chavez, my goodness, what a drive and what a recovery that you managed to have there. P6 down to P23, back up to P8. A great drive, Dennis, and great effort. Unfortunately, lap 1 there, not treating you the best, but managing to get your head back down and get out there again. We're going to get some replays rolling here as we wait for the drivers to come in.
Hey, Mike.
Hello, Eric.
Hey, Chris.
Hello.
What a fantastic race. And if everybody enjoyed watching that race, we actually have another race tomorrow while we wait for our podium finishers to come in. We have the swap race tomorrow. For those that don't know and we're watching, if you have a friend or significant other or family member that doesn't drive ACC and wants to kind of experiment with what we do, we have a race tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern. It is a swap race, an IRL swap race, where the amateurs start the first 10 minutes, the pros do the middle 20 minutes, and the amateurs finish off with the last 10 minutes. No experience required. It is super fun. So if you haven't signed up, check it out. We have a bunch of people already signed up. I think it is going to be a blast. So if you haven't signed up, sign up, come in, check it out. It's going to be really fun. Thank you.
Link available there on SimGrid, which you can find in the Twitch chat. And big thank you, everybody there, as we are going to pull some drivers in here for our interviews. As it stands, we have Ollie Raza, the only one. I know we got Charlie Booth there in chat. Hopefully Charlie can pop in, as well as Ilipo as well. Hopefully Ilipo can pop in. But Ollie, what a drive. And to be fair, well, what a drive. I don't think there was much racing to be had besides at the very beginning, but still, managing to put the pace in lap after lap and hold it down together, incredible effort.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely challenging conditions. Kept changing, like especially trying to decide what pressures to put was definitely hard. In the beginning, I was like too low. Then the second stint, I was too high. But
Yeah, that's what we
eventually, I
wanted to
didn't.
know. That's what we were. Both Mike and I. We just wanted to know, like, what's good. What are they thinking of these weather changes and the pressure changing and the temperature changing?
I think the
It
best way
seemed
is
wild.
the best
Yeah.
thing to do was to be like a little bit higher than normal in like ideal conditions, and then so that when it rains, you kind of have a little more pressure. But yeah, like in the beginning, I was down to like 23. Then when it was hot, I went up to like mid 28s. It was
Yeah.
all over the place. I managed to
Well, you
pull
did
through in
great,
the end.
man. Yeah,
Thank you,
amazing
thank
job. Absolutely amazing job.
And it seems I'm not seeing anybody else for the interviews, but yeah, that was extremely, I gotta say, Ollie. Where did, like, especially with the wet, how did the wet affect your race in terms of, did it even make an impact? Because it seemed like the showers were so short that it just, except for the one time, there was that one time that the rain came down for a good hour in game that, yeah, how was it? I'm just curious. Like I said, it was such a strange race.
Yeah, most of the time the showers were really brief, so it only made the track greasy. So like staying on slicks was the way. Like there's no point changing wets. So it was just like, kind of broke a little bit earlier, be a little more careful, but it was fine. But yeah, at one point, like you said, it got really wet, and then I started going really wide, had to brake a lot earlier. But I knew if I switch to wets, then it's gonna dry up and it's gonna be bad, so might as well stay on slicks.
Yeah, makes
Yeah, that was
sense.
the other question we had too. Is it, when it came to the rain, did you have a strategy before the race, and did you stay with that strategy during the race, or did you end up having to just completely work your strategy as you were in the event, in the race itself?
I kind of had a strategy. I wanted to do like 30-minute stints for each tire. So like I would change tires 2 times, and then the third
Okay.
stop I would not do it. I thought that was the best, but I was wondering like how long the rain lasts, and
Yeah, I
judging by the
bet.
race, it wasn't really long. So I don't think changing to wets was the plan.
So it didn't really affect your overall strategy that you did
No,
put
it
in
didn't
place.
really. No.
Okay, that's good. That's good to hear, man. You really killed it tonight. Really good racing, really good driving.
Thank you.
Yeah, and big thank you to all the drivers for participating as well. Big thank you to Chris Larondie for joining me in the booth for the first time tonight, and what a debut it's been. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you for having me. It's been absolutely a blast. Love it.
And Ollie, you're all good to go, I'm sure you know. But yep, thank you as well. Of course, we have coming up our spouse swap event that's going to be tomorrow. Also Thursday, our M2 reverse grid starting up. All of this, of course, can be found on SimGrid, which is up in the chat. Eric, do you have anything else you would like to say, or are we going to just end up rating here?
No, just our new seasons are about to start. We have a bunch of races coming up with the Monday rookies, the Monday Open, which are all GT4s, the Thursday M2 reverse grid. Need some love. So if you guys are looking for some M2 racing, join us. And then the Sunday GT3 series coming up. So looking forward to all of that. And don't forget the swap race, super fun for everyone. Sign up tomorrow.
It's always a good time. We've had multiple of those in the past, and they always turn out to be way more competitive than anybody ever expects. We are going to be ending the stream, though. I hope everyone, thank you guys so much for watching. We are going to raid whatever fool. Oh, okay, I needed... For some reason, I'm not... Okay, let's hope I can raid whatever fool. There we go. We did it. Okay, I started it. Lovely. We're going to head over and raid him. He's going to be playing some Forza Motorsports. Whatever fool is an awesome streamer and is going to be doing some probably funny and amazing things. So make sure you guys go and check him out and drop him a follow if you guys haven't already. And once again, big thank you to everyone for participating in this stream. Thank you guys, everyone in chat. Rusty Plastic, Doc Milwee, thank you for being here every time. Doc, you are so awesome. Casey as well, thank you. Palm Tree, sorry for cursing you, Casey, but it's also your fault. But yes, thank you guys. Hope you guys have a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. And thank you, and good night.